So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abubakar Muhammad. I'm a PhD student in Heriot-Watt University. My presentation examines cost drivers and data challenges in offshore wind power projects, CAPEX estimation. Before I go deep into the presentation, I would like to make a few clarifications. First, my background, BSc MSc, was in economics, but I found myself doing PhD in construction project management. So that's why since yesterday, while attending different presentations, I do ask myself, the first question I asked when I begin my PhD journey, that do I truly belong to construction? Although this conference has reinforced my belief that construction is now my new home, then the second clarification is the focus of my paper. The sector focus of my paper is in offshore wind power projects, which is not the conventional construction projects that I have been attending the conferences. Different presentations of this conference were about. So I'm sorry, maybe myself and the presentations is a bit outliers, and I hope, or maybe I'm sorry if you may not see what you have seen in other presentations. Then the third one is this study is not a deep research because it is a preliminary work of my PhD research. My PhD focus is on cost forecasting, integrating reference cost forecasting and the Bayesian inference to forecast capital costs in offshore wind power projects. So I just observed that before I dive deep into the modeling process of capital costs in offshore wind power projects, I need to conduct this study. So the problem, offshore wind CAPEX forecasting remains difficult to compare and model because cost boundaries vary and project level data are confidential, incomplete, and inconsistently reported. Previous studies identify CAPEX components and data limitations, but do not systematically assess their severity or the suitability of modeling support methods under different data conditions. So although the existing literature, there is many studies that provide extensive analysis of cost forecasting in offshore wind projects, but these studies have not provided a unified or clarified CAPEX component in offshore wind power projects. More importantly, there is no study that's entirely focused on the data challenges. Most studies, they treated data challenges as part of the limitations of their studies. So that's why this study tries to solve or fill in this gap and has this, the following aims and objectives. The first one is to clarify the fixed bottom-up CAPEX structure, then assess the severity of the main data challenges and evaluate the suitability of mitigation methods for the identified challenges. Then the research methods. We follow. The study followed two-stage sequential design, the structured literature review and the survey. So under structured literature review, we focused on fixed bottom CAPEX, studies on fixed bottom CAPEX components, and then data challenges affecting the CAPEX modeling, and then the mitigation methods. Then in the survey, we use questionnaire, and it has three main sections. The first, the section A is normally the normal respondents' background. Then section B is the CAPEX components, C, data challenges, and the section D is the mitigation method. Then for data analysis, we use descriptive analysis, and this is because at the time of submitting this conference paper, we have a limited responses. We only got 28 responses, and for that, we cannot perform any deep inferential analysis. So we limited ourselves to descriptive analysis, notably the weighted mean score, which is given by this simple equation. Wj equal to summation of Sij over n. Wj is the mean score for item j, that is for the cost component, or the data challenges, or the mitigation method. Then Sij is the score given by the respondent I to item j, and n is the number of valid respondents. So we use this mean score to rank the three variables under the structured literature review. So we rank the cost, the CAPEX component in terms of their significance. For data challenges, it was ranked in terms of the severity of the challenges. Then for mitigation methods, it was ranked in terms of suitability. Then the results. From the literature findings, we have the literature converges on three delivery-oriented CAPEX categories. So the first category, development and consenting, which has a total share of 5 to 10% share of total CAPEX, and it has 5 components. Then the second category is the production and acquisition, which has 40 to 60%, and it has 8 components. Then the last one is installation and commissioning, which has 15 to 25%, or which makes 15 to 25%, and it has 12 components. So production and acquisition is the dominant category, accounting for roughly half of the total CAPEX. So this is the survey results. These are the components. Although the components are 25, so we just produced the first 10 here. And among the first 10, the top 4 were the wind turbine and the foundation and their installations. So this is the result for severity of data challenges. You can see the most severe data challenge in offshore wind power projects based on the survey was the restricted access and confidentiality, followed by small sample size and the missing key variables. Then the least severe was the currency and inflation inconsistency or adjustment. Then the suitability of mitigation methods. You can see we have 2 scenarios here, or 2 different cases. For small data sets, we have bootstrapping and simulation and machine learning, where the bootstrapping was rated highest in terms of suitability. Then for missing key variables, benchmark and regression approach or methods were ranked highest compared to machine learning. So machine learning was lowest in 2 cases because of the nature of the data, because we are talking about the small data size and the missing variables. So machine learning, I don't know much about it. Machine learning requires a large data set. So that's because it might be one of the reasons, or the main reason why the respondent rated it the lowest in terms of within this context. So limitation and future work. This study was limited, or is limited to fixed bottom-up wind CAPEX. It does not extend to OPEX or levelized cost of energy or floating offshore wind. And another limitation is the access to respondents, which are the offshore wind energy experts or professionals. I don't need to tell you how difficult it is to get responses, even from ordinary people, let alone to be from a professional. So it remains a serious challenge or a constraint or limitations. Then findings represent initial expert validation rather than a conclusive empirical verification. As I said before, we just use this conference paper use only 28 responses. The survey is still ongoing. I think as of this week, when I checked, we have of 10, I think almost at least 76 responses now. So we're hoping to get more as the time goes on. So based on these limitations, the future work is, as I just said, we are trying to enlarge the samples, the survey sample to support a broader and more robust analysis. Then maybe hopefully either myself or any other researcher can extend the analysis to other cost categories, including OPEX and localized cost of energy. Then most importantly for as I said, I conducted the study because of it's a foundation or a support for my deeper modeling process for CAPEX forecasting in offshore wind projects. So thank you.